Hey everyone, welcome back to MegaGuac's Masterclass. I'm Chris and this is Ken. And today we're going to be talking about using photography for self-promotion and content creation as an independent artist. We're going to be covering the equipment that Ken uses, his shooting process, how he edits and develops his film, how he submits it online, and the community of photographers as a whole. Ken, why don't you just talk to me about what you do as a photographer?
So I didn't think that this would actually have stuck this long. I kind of just started taking pictures for fun. I don't know. I guess my brother used to take pictures at one point, and I followed in that a little bit because there was a family camera and it was just kind of sitting there all the time. So I figured might as well get started on trying how to use it. I took the photography classes in high school, but I just kept rolling with it after that. And I don't know. I don't really use... I'm sort of on and off with it. I'll have these like little bursts of like I'll just be taking pictures all the time. I remember fall of like 2016 or fall of 2016 was pretty big jump in me going out and taking pictures a lot more because I was home.
So tell me a little bit about your personal photography. Like, what style do you usually aim for?
I don't know. I guess it'd be really hard to ask me what my style is. I suppose if you look at a collection of all my pictures, there probably is a common theme of like what I like to take pictures of and how I like to take pictures of them. But I don't know. If you just ask me, I can't really tell you that. I just sort of, when you see something, you take the picture. And that's sort of just how I've been doing it.
So we'll move on to part 2, which is your equipment. And just tell me a little bit about the cameras that you brought today.
So I started out primarily digital, as most people do, except for in the first class I think they had me take in high school was a film photo class, but I was already shooting digital photo prior to that.
Gotcha.
This is my trusty Canon 5D Classic. Started out with a Canon 50D, so I started with Canon from the get-go. I've been pretty loyal to them.
What do you typically use this camera for?
So this camera was my everything camera. So after I had that 50D for a little bit, I got my first entry-level SLR, a Canon T1i that I bought for like $200. It was already like a few years old. It was old tech, but I just wanted a camera that I actually bought. I wanted my camera. I didn't even think, I just wanted a full frame because the smaller cameras, you get the crop sensor, and then, I don't know, I just wanted the full frame. I knew I had gotten to a point with the crop sensor where it was starting to actually get a little bit annoying. The full frame lets me get everything. Like, what I see through this is what the picture's going to look like, and that's why I love this thing. And I don't know, I see no reason for me to upgrade past this for now, especially since I've been shooting the film a lot more recently. I'm just continuing to go backwards in time here. Before upgrading the camera, I'd want to upgrade this thing's lens. And
Gotcha.
this is... this lens hardly ever leaves this thing. This is a 50mm fixed. This is like everyone's first portrait lens, and I've had this since the 50D.
And what other lenses do you usually use on here other than that one?
I have this old wide angle that came in a kit. I don't really use this one too much because it's quite worn. And, the locking ring is messed up.
Gotcha.
But I have used that. That's what I used for a lot more before I realized that the fixed lens was the way to go. You just can't beat the fixed lens. You just get the clearest picture.
So I guess moving on to your film cameras, which you brought a couple here. You just grab one and tell me a little bit about it.
So I started the film with this one. This is like what they give you in like high school film photo class. The Pentax K1000 is like the SLR that everyone thinks of when it comes to 35 millimeter. And this too also has a 50 millimeter fixed lens, and I primarily use this for black and white photography. Although sometimes I'll stick a roll of color in it if I happen to have some extra. I don't know how old this thing is. It's way older than me, that's for sure.
Definitely has some character.
I don't know. Sometimes I'll go out hiking and I'll probably have this or the digital. And then like I don't know. After I bought that one, it just kind of went down from there. I have like way more film cameras at home, but I only brought a few here. I bought this little thing. I don't know what exactly I really use this thing for, but it's kind of fun. In daylight, you kind of get some cool pictures. It's kind of like a refillable, disposable camera. It's got a plastic lens. It's fully plastic. It's hollow. There's like nothing to it. No zoom, no focus or anything. But I don't know. I've gotten some fun pictures out of this thing. Been having a lot of my fun with this one recently. I've been a little lazy, so I've just been using this little point and shoot film camera that I got for like really cheap. This is the one that I stick like expired film into because I managed to get that for like considerably cheaper than brand new film stock. It's usually only expired color film is what I put in here. I'll use the good brand new rolls in the SLR to get like those pictures, but I sort of like this one being super unpredictable. Especially because when I first got it, I broke the viewfinder adjustment. So it doesn't...
You're shooting blind right now?
It's essentially shooting blind. I mean, the only thing that I can really see is like a general idea of like what would be in the frame. But beyond that, it's pure guesswork. Yeah, I use this thing all the time. I've brought this one hiking. I take this one with me to parties with friends. I think that everybody should have something like this. I think you should get a point and shoot film camera and take pictures of your friends.
Yeah, and I know you just mentioned shooting with expired film. So what's the benefit of that versus shooting with fresh roll film?
I mean, the benefit is it gives you that film look that you're looking for.
It's a little bit like character.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it I don't know. It's just a gamble, and that adds more to the gamble of this camera because sometimes you don't even know if the film's even gonna process because like it's expired. It's unpredictable. When you take pictures with brand new film stock, you can definitely still tell it's film. Well, I guess, and it does depend on the type of film because there's any kind of look that you're going for. There's a film for that. I know everyone's go-to is Portra. I think it's Kodak Portra 400 or 800 or whatever. I haven't actually shot that yet. I've just the easiest film to get is Fujifilm Superia. I actually don't really like to get it too much because it resembles so closely to my digital that I might as well just use the digital.
Gotcha. There's
the instant cameras. I mean, everybody has seen one of these. I mean, these things are like $20. I don't know how much they are, but the film is cheap. Like you can get a bunch of these. I bought like 6 packs of these things and just have been going through them. This is what I take. I like to take this to take pictures of my friends too. I mean, I keep some of them, but these little mini ones I tend to actually give out. And this too is just a little cheap plastic lens, and this one in particular has a constant firing flash, so and sometimes that's a little annoying, but whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I like to take pictures of my friends when I don't like telling them to pose. I just like taking pictures.
When they least expect it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the most fun way to do it. I mean, it's the way that shows you're literally snapping the moment.
And I think with film you have one shot, one chance, so it's almost more of a thrill. And
that's what I like about film. So like when I shoot digital, I'll shoot like 10 to 20 of the same picture just to make sure that you get that right picture, maybe with like a bunch of different settings, like bracketing your settings so you can get the one that you want. But what I like about film is you have to sit there and like actually think about what exactly you want to take your picture of, because yeah, it's limited. Like I'm sure everyone's seen one of these. Polaroid 600. I have a few of these, but this is the one that I've been using the most recently.
It's the same idea as the Fujifilm that you just showed
Yeah,
us, right?
same thing. Yeah, I use this to take pictures of my friends too. I mean, this is an idea of like a picture that you could get, or you can just take pictures of anything. I take pictures of your friends. I don't know. Take pictures of the places you go. Just take pictures. I don't know. It's
Anything,
fun.
yeah.
Anything.
So moving on to part 3, I want to cover shooting. And what's an environment that you would generally look for when you're trying to take some photos?
So I guess the fun part of photography is that I'm never actually seeking to go out to take pictures. I feel like when I have to sit down and like think of like where I want to take a picture, it's rough. But like, so I if I know I'm gonna be going out somewhere, like if I'm going out with friends hiking or something like that, or if I'm like traveling or something, I'll have a camera or a few cameras, probably a few cameras, because each camera has a different purpose. At least in my setup. Some people have an everything camera. I mean, I have an everything camera. But yeah, you just see something. You can't plan when you're gonna see something cool, and you just kind of have to be prepared for that moment. But I'd never go out to take pictures per se. I'll go out and take pictures, but never go out to take pictures.
Gotcha.
Feels weird doing it that way.
No, yeah. So generally speaking, I've seen a bunch of your photographs, and you take a lot of landscapes. So what equipment would you generally use to take a landscape shot?
I will usually have one film camera and one digital camera for something like that, because you just gotta compare the two, what they look like, or just for the sake of having both, because if I have one without the other, I'm gonna be wondering what the other one looked like.
Right.
I'll have the digital, the DSLR, and probably the normal the film SLR, and I'll probably have black and white in the film camera, just to have that little bit of difference at the very least. Yeah, I guess I do tend to take a lot of landscape photos. I mean, I've done the urban photography thing at one point, but it wasn't really my speed. I like to see really big things.
You like to incorporate a lot of cars and vehicles within these landscape shots, almost like they're a subject.
So if I'm taking pictures of the car specifically, or I guess this even goes for people, I like a setting, like the setting would have to be a nice place, but I guess not too much as to take away from the main subject. But if in some of the pictures where the car is part of the picture but not necessarily the focus of the picture, I'll usually do something like that. Like you can tell when the car is not like the biggest thing in the picture. It was just I included it because it was part of the journey, I guess. I don't know. That sounds kind of cheesy, but like I mean the car takes you there. And you get to see all these cool things because of the car sometimes when you go out like into the woods or something like that. So definitely makes sense to include the car.
Also allows to give yourself some proportion of the landscapes, I think, by putting the car in there.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives you a little size reference.
So moving on to part 4, we're going to talk a little bit about editing your photos and developing them if they are taken on a film camera. So you can just talk a little bit about your editing process.
So if I'm shooting film, I don't edit the pictures typically. I know you can, and there's no problem with that, but I just kind of leave it as is. But if I'm shooting digital, I only use Lightroom. I mean, that's a lie. I'll use Photoshop sometimes if I need to touch up some spots and like get rid of dust marks or something.
Mm.
But Lightroom all the way for like I also tend not really to do too much with the picture in Lightroom. Mainly because I don't really know how to do much with it in Lightroom. I do want to try composition shots. I've always set it up and I've taken the pictures to do it, but I've never actually sat down and tried to stitch together a bunch of pictures to make one. I send my film out to get developed. Takes a few weeks, but I'll typically just like shoot a few rolls, and once I get to like 6 is when I start thinking about sending them out. But yeah, I just send it out to get developed. I send it to some guy in Philly, and then he sends me the scans via email, and then sends me the developed film back to me in case I lose the file and want to rescan it or something.
Gotcha.
And then the Polaroid and the Instax is obviously one step developing, and then the digital is just digital.
Moving on to part 5, I'm just talking about the submission process when you're posting stuff online. Do you normally like post on your social media, or I know that you're building a website at the moment. How do you usually go about that, choosing a photo to post?
So I used to have a photography based, like a solely for my photography Instagram, and it's still up somewhere. I don't remember what the ad is, but I do have some of my old work on there. I don't know. I used to just post whenever I'd do something. Sometimes there'd be weeks where I wouldn't post anything, and then sometimes there'd be times where I post like 5 times in a week. Nowadays I just have been stacking pictures. I just have a bunch. I'm not really. I don't know if any of these, if the majority of these will even be posted anywhere, but I don't know. I just have a rolling Google Drive, and I have had a rolling Google Drive for like the last 10 years or so, maybe, that I've just been sticking all my pictures into. They're all organized by like when and where they were taken. Once I realized that I hadn't like enough images that kind of somewhat went with each other, I just like decided to start trying to work on a website. I kind of started working on it, but I kind of haven't touched it in like 4 months. I only worked on it for like the first week, but it'll get there sometime. I just wanted a place where all the work that I really wanted everyone to see would be. And like some of like the Instagram that I was talking about before, like a lot of those pictures probably won't be on that site. I don't know. I just, whatever pictures that I want people to see, I want them all in one place. Also for me, so that I can go through and see them myself without having to like search through all my files or whatever.
Gotcha. And I found it interesting on how you're organizing the photos. Can you tell me a little bit about how you're organizing them?
Right. So if I'm like on the Google Drive, it's split into now 35 millimeter and digital. The digital one has way more stuff in it. So I'll just like write the date, or if it's like over the course of a few days or like a week or so, then I'll just write the month and the year and then the place or whatever I'm taking the picture of. So I don't know, like when I went to California and like Arizona, and that was all one trip, so I just put that all in one folder. It's like that. If I went out to take pictures, to go like I go to Harriman State Park a lot. There's definitely a ton of Harriman folders in that folder. They all just say Harriman, but they're just separated by date, and I just kind of know. I don't know. It's nice going back because I look at those pictures from the same spot, just a different time, and I'll just remember how things were at that time.
So I guess moving on to part 6, we're going to talk a little bit about the photography community and what other types of artists you're collaborating with, or what types of events you like to cover, and I guess just like a collaboration, whether it's a person that's also doing photography or an artist that's based in another medium, such as a musician.
So I guess I haven't really been doing much in that department. I'll take pictures. I took pictures for a friend's band once or a few times. That was pretty fun. They came out really good, actually. I'll cover car events sometimes, like if I'm going to the racetrack for a drifting event or a day of drifting or like a day of like autocross or something, I'll bring a camera. If I'm going to a car show or something, I'll bring a camera.
Definitely.
I don't know, and then like maybe if I'll post some of those things, like if it was something that I saw at an event or something, maybe I'll tag the person and then they'll post it. And I don't know, I guess Instagram just really, in terms of the community, yeah, Instagram just changed everything. It just made it a lot easier for everyone to see everyone's stuff. I mean, there was already things like Flickr and all that before Photobucket and all that, but And they're still being used. I still have a Flickr, I'm pretty sure. I think it's still up. It's cool to see your work being used by someone else.
Definitely. All right, so I guess wrapping up, we definitely covered a lot of topics, and appreciate you coming to talk a little bit about your photography and how you use it for self-promotion and just content creation in general. So see you guys in next 2 weeks for episode 3. Bye.